Okay, so you know that feeling when you see like a new gadget or maybe like a cool vacation package, and immediately you start thinking, all right, how can I make this happen? But like the real question is, how do we even begin to understand the money part of it all? That's what we're diving into today, breaking down those essential money concepts, to get a grip on personal finance and feel confident when it comes to money matters.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been going through some really clear explanations on this, and honestly, they've broken it down from like what money even is to more complex stuff like investing and credit. So basically, we're giving you the tools to become super financially smart.
And one thing I loved is how they use super simple language and examples. It's
Mm.
like that idea of money growing like a plant, right?
Right.
Really easy to grasp. So we'll be hitting the highlights on making money, saving it, spending it, investing it, even borrowing it. We'll get you understanding all this without making your head spin, I promise.
Yeah, by the end of this, you'll get how money actually works. And even better, you'll feel way more comfortable making smart money choices for the future, no matter where you're at right now with your money knowledge.
So let's jump right in. First things first, maybe a bit obvious, but
Yeah.
what exactly is money? It's like the foundation of everything, so let's get that crystal clear.
You got it. At its simplest, money is a tool to trade, right? It's how we easily buy things we need and want. But what's really interesting is our sources talk about what came before money, which was bartering, trading one thing directly for another. Sounds simple, but it had some major
I
drawbacks.
can imagine. Like, picture yourself with a fresh loaf of bread wanting to trade it for some new shoes. The problem is, what if the shoemaker already has a ton of bread? See, the value of each trade could be super subjective, maybe even unfair.
Exactly. And that's where money changed the game. Whether it was coins, paper bills, or even today's digital stuff, money became that universally accepted thing to give things value and make trading smooth. And our sources also point out the main ways people get this money: working, starting businesses, or investing wisely.
So, really grasping that core idea of money as a tool for buying and how we usually get it through work or our own ventures, that's where true financial smarts begin. But hey, before we spend or invest, we got to earn it first. And it's cool that some sources emphasize earning money isn't just for grown-ups, right?
Right. Even young people can get into the earning game. Think about those classic examples, walking the neighbor's dog, chores around the house, maybe a lemonade stand, or even selling crafts. It's not just about getting some spending money, it's that connection between effort and reward that's important to grasp.
And that's where it gets empowering, right?
Hmm.
Once you've earned it, it's your call what you do with it. That's a pretty big deal in understanding how you control your finances.
Totally. And that leads us to a super important choice: spending that money right away or seeing the long-term benefits of saving and eventually investing. It's like opening up a world of options.
All right, let's explore that choice then. Saving versus spending.
Yeah.
Seems like a constant juggling act for a lot of us. So what's the key difference here?
Basically, saving is all about delaying that "I want it now" feeling. You're deliberately setting aside some money for the future, especially for bigger goals, like that bike you mentioned, or even saving for college. Spending, on the other hand, is using that money now to get what you need or want right this second.
And speaking of balancing, one of the sources brings up the 50-30-20 rule, which sounds really practical. Could you break that down for us?
Sure, it's a really good guideline for handling your income. They suggest using about 50% on essentials, things like housing, food, transport, the stuff you absolutely need or, really, really want. Then around 30% can go to fun stuff, those nice to haves that make you happy. And that final 20%, that's your savings and debt repayment money. Of course, remember, this is a general guide. Everyone's different, so adjust it as you need.
I like how it recognizes that some of those wants feel pretty essential, but consistently saving 20% seems key. And, our sources really stress the power of putting aside even small amounts regularly.
Absolutely. Whether it's tossing a few bucks in a jar or setting up automatic transfers to a savings account, that consistent habit really adds up. It makes those big goals a lot closer than you think.
And while saving's great for the medium-term goals, what about watching your money seriously grow over time? That's where investing comes in. Might sound intimidating at first, but one source had a really cool way of explaining it.
Oh, yeah, the seed analogy, right. Planting a seed and watching it grow. Investing, at its heart, is putting your money into things that will hopefully increase in value over time. It's like having your money work for you, not just sit there. But remember, While the seed analogy is helpful to grasp the basics, investing comes with different risks and potential rewards. It's like choosing different kinds of seeds. Some might grow faster, some slower, some might need specific conditions. So, doing your homework and understanding different asset classes like stocks and bonds is really important.
One source even used a really easy example, like buying candy and selling it for a bit more. Basically, a mini business, right?
Perfect example. You're using your starting money to buy the candy with the goal of making even more. But as our sources point out, investing does have risks. The value can go up, but it can also go down. That's why it's so important to start learning about this stuff early on.
Which brings us to a real game changer in finance: compound interest. Sounds a bit technical, but its effects over time are mind-blowing. So what makes it so powerful?
Well, it's like a snowball effect. When you put money in a savings account or invest it, you often earn interest. Think of it like a bonus percentage of your original money. But compound interest means you earn interest not just on the original amount, but on the interest you already earned. It's earnings on top of earnings.
You used a great example, starting with $100 and earning 5% interest per year. Walk us through that, would you?
Of course. So you start with $100. At 5% interest, you gain an extra $5, so you have $105. But here's the kicker with compound interest. The next year, you get 5% on that $105, not just the original 100. That's $5.25, bringing your total to $110.25. You're literally earning interest on your interest.
So your money's not just growing, the rate at which it grows keeps increasing, right? That interest on interest is the key.
Exactly. The longer it goes, the more powerful it gets. That's why time plays a huge role in saving and investing. Even small amounts, saved or invested over years and years, can become really big, all thanks to compounding. In fact, some historical data suggests that compound interest has played a massive role in how a lot of people built wealth.
Okay, so we've tackled earning, the saving versus spending dilemma, and how investing, especially with compound interest, can really grow your money. Now let's switch gears to a tool that's super useful, but needs a bit of careful understanding: credit. What's the deal with credit?
Simply put, credit is borrowing money, usually from a bank or lender, with a promise to pay it back later, usually with some extra charges. It's really about the lender trusting that you'll keep your promise. Our sources also mention a credit score, which is like a report card for your money habits.
And why is having a good credit score so important for our financial future?
A good credit score opens doors, honestly. It helps you get loans for big things, like buying a house or a car. It can even affect stuff like insurance rates and whether you can rent a place. It shows people you're good with handling money.
One source had this great analogy, comparing responsible credit use to borrowing a toy from a friend. You treat it well, you return it on time, all good.
Right. If you're good with the borrowed toy, your friend will probably lend you things again. It's the same with credit. When you borrow money and pay it back on time, you're building trust. And that translates into a good credit score.
But the opposite is true too, right? If you're not careful with borrowed money or don't pay back on time, that can really mess up your credit score.
You got it. Being irresponsible with credit can backfire big time. It makes getting loans harder and more expensive, so knowing how to use credit wisely is super important.
So we've gone through a lot, from what money even is, to the power of compounding over time and the importance of managing credit responsibly. What are some key things we can take away from all this and actually apply to our own lives?
Our sources offer some practical tips that we can turn into smart money habits. First up, make saving a priority. Decide how much you'll save before spending on fun stuff. Second, look into investing as a way to grow your money over time. Start small and learn as you go. Third, if you use credit, always pay back on time to build that positive credit history. Fourth, be mindful about spending. Before buying something, ask yourself, do I really need this? And lastly, keep learning about personal finance. Things change, so staying updated helps you make smarter decisions.
Those are some solid, actionable steps. And as our sources highlight, the choices we make now, even if they seem small, have a ripple effect on our financial future.
Couldn't agree more. It's all about building a strong foundation of knowledge and forming consistent habits that will set you up for success in the long run.
So, quick recap. We took a deep dive into what money is, ways to earn it, the difference between saving and spending, how investing can build wealth, that incredible force of compound interest, and managing credit wisely. It's all connected in becoming financially literate.
And the key takeaway is that being good with money isn't about luck. It's about understanding these core ideas and consistently making smart choices based on that knowledge. You've now got a great starting point on your journey to becoming truly financially savvy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The financial choices we make today, no matter how big or small they feel, truly shape our financial future.
That brings up a crucial question to think about. Knowing how powerful compound interest can be, what's one small, practical step you can take right now to start growing your money for the future?
And building on our discussion about credit, what does borrowing responsibly truly mean to you as you work towards your own financial goals? Some really valuable things to reflect on as you navigate your own financial path.